Hello, this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and today we're going to talk about Surprise and Initiative in Dungeon Crawl Classics. Alright, so today's topic is Surprise and Initiative. Before we get into it, I do want to promote a couple of things. First and foremost, we have a new Kickstarter up. Tragedy at Woodwitch Rise is a first-level adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics. It is set in the Stennard grim dark horror fantasy setting that all of my content is based in. It is, as I said, a first-level adventure. One of the Mutt Wrangler daughters has gone missing in the Whispering Wood, presumably heading towards Woodwitch Rise, and the PCs must race against time in order to save the child before something awful happens. The adventure has a cool climactic conclusion where the PCs need to get to the top of a hill with all sorts of forces trying to battle them back. And of course, there's all sorts of ingenious ways to get to the top of the hill. So definitely check that out if that sounds interesting to you. It is also the sequel to Desperation of the Hungry. Desperation of the Hungry is available now in PDF form on DriveThruRPG and itch.io. Additionally, I am taking pre-orders on the Breaker Press web store. The PDF is all done. It is going to the printer tomorrow, and we will have printed copies in hand probably in about 2 weeks, but I will ship once the stickers arrive in about 3 weeks. Finally, if you like this content and you want to support Breaker Press Games, check out our Patreon. At any value, you are supporting us. If you support at $5 and above, you get something cool in the mail for Dungeon Crawl Classics every single month in the form of a pamphlet encounter or a mini-zine. So definitely check that out if that sounds cool to you. So, that being said, let's talk about Surprise and Initiative. First and foremost, the rules for Surprise are hidden in paragraph 4 of Initiative. So if you're actually, turn to the page in the Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook, and you're looking for Surprise, you will see marching order, you will see Initiative, and no mention of Surprise until you dig into paragraph 4 of Initiative. But here are the rules. If the PCs are not aware of their opponents, they are surprised. The same applies if the monsters are not aware of their opponents, they are surprised. Surprised characters do not act in the first round of combat. Instead, they default to Initiative starting in the second round. So, it is possible for the PCs, through moving silently or other means, to surprise the monsters if the way the description is laid out in the adventure or whatever. It is possible for the PCs to surprise the monsters. In a lot of cases, it is going to be the monsters surprising the PCs. I will use the example behind me of the Precipice of Corruption. That bridge that is depicted behind me, there is a monster, there is a threat on that bridge, and most PCs, obviously, when they crawl into the mouth of a monstrous demonic bridge thing, they're going to be using caution, but the nature by which the monsters are hidden in the bridge, it is still going to take the PCs by surprise. So unless they do something astounding and unexpected, it is most likely that they are going to be surprised. That being said, not every situation is going to be a situation where the surprise is obvious, and it will have to be adjudicated by your judge. So, once we determine which side is surprised and go through any surprise attacks, then we go to Initiative. So, the Initiative roll is a D20 plus modifiers. So in the case of monsters, in their stat block, there is going to be, it'll say, let's say, action die D20 plus 6. And so in the case of, or I should say, initiative die D20 plus 6. So in that case, they're rolling a D20 plus 6. In the case of PCs, the modifier is going to be either an agility modifier, or in the case of warriors, they get a modifier based on their character level as well. Also, it should be noted that monsters and PCs that are using two-handed weapons So, for example, if they're using a two-handed sword or a crossbow, they roll a d16 instead of a d20. And why does that matter? Well, because highest initiative goes first. So if, for example, the highest initiative is 18, they're going to go first, and then let's say there's two 14s. Oh, we've got a tie. How are ties broken? Well, first and foremost, ties are broken by whoever has the highest agility. If the 14s in question have the same agility, then it would default to hit dice. And so you've got multiple different ways that you can break ties. In the case of monsters, this doesn't actually state this in the rules, but in the case of a monster, if let's say the PC has a +1 initiative modifier and the monster has a +6 initiative modifier, even though they don't have an agility stat, I can make the call that the monster clearly is very agile and has some sort of aspect about it that gives it an advantage in moving quicker or having surprise. And so I would, apply that as well. So all of that being said, that is how surprise and initiative work. If the PCs are not aware of their opponents, they're surprised. And then you roll initiative. Yeah, that is all we've got for today. Thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. Please check out our next video. Our next video is going to be on action dice, I do believe. So check that out. In the meantime, check out what's in the carts, and